I'm Sophie Bennett, a painter who pours her heart onto canvas, hoping someone will see me. Right now, I'm alone in my Asheville studio, the rain pounding the tin roof like a drumbeat of betrayal. My phone glows in the dark, paint-splattered room, my mother's words cutting deeper than the storm outside. We can't make it to your wedding, Sophie. Ethan's barbecue is that weekend. Lightning flashes, illuminating my half-finished seascape, all churning greys and blacks, echoing the fury and hurt tearing through me. I'm 32, engaged to Noah, the man who loves me fiercely, yet my parents choose my brother's party over my wedding day. What happens when I stop chasing their love? Hope you enjoyed this story. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear where you're watching from. Now let's continue with the story. I set the phone down, its weight heavier than it should be, and sink onto the creaky wooden stool. The air smells of turpentine and damp earth, the kind of scent that usually calms me but tonight feels suffocating. My name is Sophie Bennett, and I'm a painter. Not the kind who makes a fortune, but the kind who pours her soul onto canvas, hoping someone, anyone, will see it. I'm 32, engaged to Noah Harper, the kindest man I've ever known, who designs interiors with the same care I put into my brushstrokes. We're building a life here in Asheville, North Carolina, a city where the Blue Ridge Mountains cradle artists like me, where the River Arts District hums with creativity. But right now, none of that feels like enough. Growing up in Asheville's Montford neighborhood, I learned early that my family's spotlight never landed on me. My older brother, Ethan Sullivan, was the golden child, captain of the Asheville High basketball team, now a bank manager, with a smile that could charm anyone. I can still see myself at 16, standing alone at my school's art fair, my oil paintings of misty mountains pinned to a corkboard, ignored. Down the hall, my parents, Margaret and Tom, cheered so loudly for Ethan's game that their voices carried through the walls. He's got a big future, they'd say, while my art got distracted. That's nice, honey. I told myself it didn't matter, that love doesn't need to be equal to be real. But some wounds fester if you pretend they're not there. Tonight's call from my mother ripped those wounds wide open. I'd been so hopeful when I told her about my engagement to Noah. We'd had dinner last month at the Admiral, a dimly lit West Asheville spot with exposed brick and the best shrimp and grits in town. Noah, with his warm brown eyes and easy laugh, had charmed them, or so I thought. We talked wedding plans, Biltmore Estates gardens, white roses, a string quartet. My parents nodded, smiled, asked about venues, but there were signs I ignored. Margaret scribbling the date wrong on her napkin, Tom grumbling about the drive from Montford. I clung to the belief they'd show up. They always did, eventually, right? The storm outside rumbles again, and I walk to the studio's window, watching the river churn under the streetlights. Noah's at a client meeting, designing a boutique downtown, so I'm alone with my thoughts. I think of Clara Nguyen, my best friend, who was at that dinner. Clara, who runs a cozy cafe called Brew and Brush on Hayward Street, saw through my forced optimism. "Sophie, you're glowing," she'd said, squeezing my hand. "But don't let them dim you." Her own stress, her cafe struggling against a new Starbucks, made her words hit harder. She's fighting for her dream, just like I'm fighting for my family to see me. I turn back to my canvas, picking up a brush, but my hand won't move. Instead, I see flashes of childhood. The time I won an art contest at 12, only for my parents to miss the ceremony because Ethan had a playoff game. The birthday when they forgot my cake but threw a block party for Ethan's graduation. Each memory is a brushstroke in a portrait of neglect, one I've tried to paint over with excuses. Ethan's more outgoing, they'd say. He needs us more. But now choosing his barbecue, a flashy party at Pack Square Park to celebrate his bank promotion, over my wedding? It's not just neglect, it's a choice. I set the brush down, my chest tight. Noah will be home soon, and I know he'll hold me, tell me we'll make our day perfect without them. But part of me wonders what's next. Will they miss my whole life too? My paintings, my dreams, the family I want to build with Noah? I glance at a sketch on my desk, a rough draft of a gallery Noah and I dreamed up. A space to lift artists like me, ones who feel unseen. Maybe that's where I'll find my light. The phone buzzes. A text from Clara. "You okay? Call me if you need to vent." I smile faintly, grateful for her. She's been my rock. Her cafe a haven where I've sketched countless ideas over coffee. Her fight to keep brew and brush alive feels like a mirror to my own struggle. To be enough? I don't reply yet. Instead, I look at the storm outside, the river's restless flow. Something shifts inside me, a quiet resolve. If my parents can't see me, I'll build a life so bright they can't look away. And maybe, just maybe, they'll regret the choice they made. As the thunder fades, I hear Noah's car pull into the driveway. I take a deep breath, ready to tell him everything. Tomorrow we'll face my family again, and I know Ethan's planning something big. His barbecue, his moment. But this time, I won't let it eclipse me. I'm Sophie Bennett, and I'm done waiting in the shadows. The backyard of my parents' Montfort home is a patchwork of summer green and golden light, the Blue Ridge Mountains framing the scene like one of my paintings. I sit at the weathered picnic table, the air thick with the scent of honeysuckle and charcoal from the grill. My fingers twist the engagement ring on my left hand, its small diamond catching the late afternoon sun. Noah's beside me, his hand resting on my knee under the table, steady as always. Across from us, my brother Ethan holds court, his laugh booming as he flips burgers, his crisp button-down rolled up to the elbows. My parents, Margaret and Tom, hover near him, their faces lit with pride, as if he's the sun and we're all just orbiting. Clara's here too, perched on a folding chair with a glass of sweet tea, her dark hair pulled into a messy bun. She catches my eye and raises an eyebrow, her silent way of saying, "Here we go again." I force a smile, but my stomach churns, still raw from last night's call when Mom dropped the bomb. They're skipping my wedding for Ethan's barbecue. The memory stings, but I'm here, hoping, foolishly, maybe, that they'll reconsider, that they'll see me. The table's covered with checkered cloth, plates piled with potato salad and cornbread, a classic Asheville spread. It's the kind of gathering that should feel warm, like home. But to me, it's a stage where I'm always a background character. Ethan clinks his beer bottle with a spoon, drawing everyone's attention. "All right, y'all, big news," he says, his voice carrying that easy charm that's always won him the room. "Got a promotion at the bank, regional manager. So I'm throwing the mother of all barbecues at Pack Square Park to celebrate. Food trucks, live music, the works. Mark your calendars for the 15th. The small crowd, neighbors, a few of Ethan's bank buddies, erupts in cheers. My parents beam, Mom clapping like he's just won an Oscar. I freeze, my fork halfway to my mouth. The 15th, my wedding day. The day I'll walk down the aisle at Biltmore Estate, white roses in my hands, Noah waiting for me. I wait for someone to say it, to point out the clash, but the chatter rolls on, all about Ethan's big bash. I glance at Mom, expecting her to hesitate, to look my way. She doesn't. She's too busy asking Ethan about the band he's booked. Dad's nodding along, already volunteering to set up tables. Noah squeezes my knee, his eyes searching mine, but I can't meet them. My throat tightens, and I feel 16 again, standing alone by my paintings while they cheered Ethan's jump shots. Clara leans over, her voice low. "Sophie, you okay? They can't seriously think—" I shake my head, cutting her off. I don't want pity, not here. I want them to notice. I clear my throat, forcing my voice to stay steady. "Ethan, the 15th is my wedding day," I say, loud enough for the table to hear. The chatter quiets for a moment, and I feel a flicker of hope. Maybe now they'll see. Ethan blinks, then laughs, like I've told a joke. "Oh damn, Sophie, that's right. Well, it's just one day, right? Plenty of weekends for parties." He grins, and the crowd chuckles, moving on. Mom pats my hand absently. "We'll figure it out, honey," she says. But her eyes are back on Ethan, already talking about his guest list. Dad doesn't even look up from his plate. My hope crumbles, replaced by a familiar ache, sharp and cold. Noah's hand tightens on mine, and I know he's furious, but he keeps his voice calm. "Sophie's wedding is at Biltmore," he says, a quiet edge to his words. "It's a big deal." Ethan shrugs. "Yeah, man, I know. Y'all will have a blast." And just like that, the conversation shifts back to his plans, my wedding erased. Clara stands, muttering something about refilling her tea, and pulls me with her toward the house. Inside the kitchen, with its chipped blue cabinets and faded linoleum, she rounds on me. Sophie, that was bullshit. They're acting like your wedding's a book club meeting they can skip. Her voice is sharp, but her eyes are soft, worried. I lean against the counter, staring at the floor. It's always been like this, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. Ethan's the star, and I'm just there. Clara crosses her arms. You're not just there. You're Sophie freaking Bennett, and you're about to marry the best guy in Asheville. They don't get to steal this from you. Her words are a lifeline, but they don't erase the truth. My parents made their choice, and it wasn't me. Back outside, the sun's dipping below the mountains, casting long shadows across the yard. I sit through the rest of the barbecue smiling when I have to, but my mind's elsewhere, replaying every time I've been pushed aside. Noah stays close, his presence a quiet anchor, but I can feel the storm building inside me. As we leave, Mom hugs me, her perfume too sweet, her words too vague. We're so proud of you, Sophie, she says, but it feels like a script. I nod, say goodnight, and climb into Noah's truck. The drive home is silent, the Asheville skyline glowing faintly against the dusk. I know what's coming, a conversation with my parents that might break me. But for now, I just want to paint, to lose myself in colors and shapes, to find a way to make sense of this hurt. The next week is a blur of wedding planning and paint fumes. My studio by the French Broad River is my sanctuary, its walls lined with half-finished canvases, the air heavy with the tang of turpentine. I'm working on a stormy seascape, all jagged waves and bruised skies, when my phone rings. The screen says Mom, and my heart lurches. I've been dreading this call since the barbecue, since I realized they might actually skip my wedding. I answer, my voice tight. Hey, Mom. Her sigh crackles through the line, the kind she uses when she's about to deliver bad news. Sophie, honey, about the wedding. My stomach drops and I grip the edge of my easel, the wood rough under my fingers. Let me guess, I say, sharper than I mean to. You're not coming. There's a pause, and I can picture her in the Montfort living room, twisting the cord of the old landline. It's just, Ethan's barbecue is that weekend, and we promised to help set up. He's counting on us, you know how he is. Her tone is so casual, like she's cancelling a lunch date, not my once-in-a-lifetime day. I wait for her to backtrack, to laugh it off, but the silence stretches, heavy and final. Mom, it's my wedding, I say, my voice breaking. To Noah, at Biltmore. You're really choosing Ethan's party over that? She hesitates, then says, It's not about choosing, Sophie. We'll celebrate with you later, I promise. But her promises feel like smoke, slipping through my fingers. I hang up before I say something I'll regret, my hands shaking so hard I drop my brush, leaving a smear of cobalt blue on the floor. The river outside churns, grey and restless, mirroring the chaos in my chest. I think of all the times I've been here before, waiting for them to show up, to care. My 10th birthday, when they forgot my party because Ethan had a school play. The art fair where my painting won first place, but they were at his game, clapping for a layup. I've spent my life swallowing disappointment, telling myself Ethan's louder, shinier moments deserve the spotlight. But this is different. This is my wedding, the day I'll stand with Noah, promising forever. And they're picking burgers and a band over me. Noah comes home an hour later, his work boots dusty from a job site downtown. He finds me curled on the studio floor, the seascape staring down at me like an accusation. Sophie, he says, kneeling beside me, his voice soft but urgent. What happened? I tell him everything, the words spilling out. Mom's call, Ethan's barbecue, the way they made it sound so reasonable. His jaw tightens, but he pulls me into his arms, his flannel shirt smelling of sawdust and cedar. We don't need them, he says, his voice fierce. We'll make our day perfect, just you and me, and everyone who shows up for us. I nod against his chest, but the hurt doesn't fade. He sits back, his eyes searching mine. You know what I've been thinking, he says, a spark in his voice. That gallery we talked about. A place for artists like you, ones who don't get seen. We could make it real. His words catch me off guard, a flicker of light in the storm. We've dreamed about this. A space in the River Arts District, a haven for people like me, pouring their hearts into art no one notices. Yeah, I say, my voice small but curious. Yeah, he says, smiling. Let's build something they can't ignore. I wipe my eyes, the idea taking root. Clara texts me then, checking in, her message a reminder of the family I've chosen. Her, Noah, maybe others I haven't met yet. I think of the wedding, now 2 weeks away, and the ache in my chest sharpens. I need to talk to Dad, to see if he'll stand up for me where Mom didn't. But deep down, I know the answer. And I know something else. I'm done begging for their love. I'm going to build a life so bright, they'll wish they'd seen me sooner. The river outside keeps flowing, and I pick up my brush again, ready to paint through the pain. The golden sunlight spills over Biltmore Estate's gardens, turning the rolling lawns into a shimmering sea of green. I stand in the center of it all, my white lace gown brushing my ankles, a bouquet of white roses trembling in my hands. The air smells of blooming azaleas and fresh earth, and a string quartet plays softly, their notes weaving through the warm June breeze. My heart's racing, not just from the weight of this moment, but from the ache I've carried since Mom's call 2 weeks ago, when she and Dad chose Ethan's barbecue over my wedding. I'm Sophie Bennett, and today I'm marrying Noah Harper, the man who sees me when my family doesn't. But as I take my first step down the aisle, I'm alone, no father's arm to hold. The crowd is small but vibrant. Noah's family, our Asheville friends, Clara and Nguyen grinning from the front row in a bright yellow dress. Noah stands at the altar, his navy suit sharp against the greenery, his hazel eyes locked on mine with a love so fierce it steadies me. I force myself to focus on him, on the vows we wrote, on the life we're building. But every step down the aisle feels like a battle against the emptiness where my parents should be. I scan the faces, a flicker of hope betraying me, thinking maybe they'll show up at the last second like in some cheesy movie. They don't. The quartet swells, and I reach Noah, his hand warm as he takes mine, grounding me in the moment. You look like a dream, he whispers, his voice low, just for me. I smile, my throat tight, and the officiant begins. The ceremony is simple, heartfelt, every word chosen with care. When it's time for our vows, Noah goes first, his voice steady but thick with emotion. Sophie, you're my home, he says, his eyes never leaving mine. You're the bravest person I know, and I promise to stand by you, to see you, always. Tears prick my eyes, and I squeeze his hands, drawing strength from him. My turn comes, and I take a shaky breath. Noah, you make me feel enough, I say, my voice catching. I promise to build a life with you, to love you through every storm. The crowd sighs, and Clara dabs her eyes, her smile wide. We exchange rings, and the officiant pronounces us husband and wife. Noah pulls me close, his kiss soft but sure, and the crowd erupts in cheers. For a moment the pain fades, replaced by a joy so bright it blinds me. We walk back down the aisle, hand in hand, petals tossed by friends, and I feel something shift inside me. I'm not the girl waiting for her parents' approval anymore. I'm Sophie Harper now, building a new family, a new life. But the ache lingers, a quiet shadow trailing me into the reception. The reception is held in Biltmore's conservatory, its glass walls framing the mountains beyond. Tables are draped in white linen, fairy lights twinkling overhead, and Clara's taken charge as unofficial MC, her wit keeping everyone laughing. Lila Harper, Noah's mother, pulls me into a hug, her perfume warm and floral. You're my daughter now, she says, her eyes kind, and I nearly break, the maternal love I've craved wrapping around me. Lila's a retired nurse, her warmth a stark contrast to Mom's distracted affection. I thank her, my voice thick, and she squeezes my hand before joining Noah's dad on the dance floor. Clara clinks her glass, drawing eyes. To Sophie and Noah, she toasts, who remind us love is showing up, no matter what. Her words hit harder than she knows, and I catch her eye, grateful for her fierce loyalty. Clara's cafe, brew and brush, is struggling, but she's here, pouring her heart into my day. As the band strikes up, Noah pulls me onto the floor, his arms sure. We did it, he murmurs, spinning me under the lights. Just us. I nod, resting my head against his chest, but my eyes drift to the empty seats where my parents should be. A young man approaches later, hesitant, his dark curls falling over his eyes. "I'm Elijah Brooks," he says, clutching a sketchbook. "I saw your work at the River Arts District show last year. It meant a lot." I smile, touched. Elijah's an artist, barely 20, his shy passion reminding me of myself. He tells me he dreams of exhibiting his work, but doubts hold him back. "Keep painting," I say, meaning it. "You'll find your voice." His gratitude lingers as he slips back into the crowd, and I feel a spark. Maybe I can help artists like him, like Noah's gallery dream. As the night winds down, Clara pulls me aside, her face flushed from dancing. "You were stunning, Sophie," she says, then lowers her voice. "I'm sorry about your parents. It's their loss." I nod, the ache flaring, but I hug her tight. "Thanks for being here," I say. She grins. "Always." Driving home with Noah, the mountains dark against the sky, I realize I don't need my parents to make this day perfect. But the hurt festers, and I know I'm not done with them yet. I'm ready to build something they can't ignore, something that proves I'm enough. The weeks after the wedding blur into a quiet rebellion. I don't call my parents, don't send photos, don't chase their scraps of attention. Our River Arts District home, a craftsman bungalow with creaky floors, becomes my sanctuary. I paint relentlessly in my studio, the French Broad River glittering outside, its flow a reminder of time moving forward. My latest piece is a lone tree on a cliff, its roots deep despite the wind, a symbol of me standing firm. Noah's my anchor, his presence steady as we settle into married life. But the hurt from my parents' absence burns, a fire I'm learning to harness. Clara visits one morning, her Jeep rattling into our driveway, a tray of brew and brush pastries in hand. "Fuel for the artist," she says, setting them on my workbench. Her cafe's rent spiked last month, and she's fighting to keep it open, her stress etched in the lines around her eyes. "You're still not talking to them, huh?" she asks, nodding at my phone, silent since Mom's call. I shake my head, mixing cobalt blue on my palette. "They made their choice," I say, my voice flat. Clara sighs, leaning against the wall. "They're idiots, Sophie. But you? You're unstoppable." Her faith in me feels like sunlight, and we brainstorm ways to save her cafe. Maybe a pop-up event, tied to art, like Noah's gallery idea. Noah comes home from a job site, his flannel dusted with sawdust, and joins us. "Speaking of the gallery," he says, his eyes bright, "I found a space. Old warehouse in the district, needs work, but it's perfect." My brush pauses, excitement flickering. We've talked about Lumen Gallery for years, a place for artists like me, ones the world overlooks. "Let's see it," I say, and we pile into his truck, Clara tagging along. The warehouse is a wreck, peeling paint, broken windows, but I see it. Polished floors, white walls, my paintings glowing under track lights. "We can do this," Noah says, squeezing my hand. Clara grins. "Hell yeah, I'll cater the opening." Back home, I sketch gallery layouts, my mind racing. But the silence from my parents gnaws at me. I haven't heard from them since the wedding. No apologies, no texts. Ethan sent a message last week, inviting me to some bank event, but I ignored it. I'm done playing second fiddle. Still, I find an old painting in my studio, a mountain scene from high school, one they never saw. It's good, raw, and it hits me. My art's always been enough, even if they couldn't see it. I want them to feel what they've missed, not out of spite, but to know I'm more than their afterthought. Clara's cafe becomes our planning hub. One afternoon, Elijah Brooks stops by, his sketchbook under his arm. He's the kid from the wedding, shy but talented. "I brought some drawings," he says, nervous. His work is stunning. Abstract swirls of color, full of pain and hope. "These belong in a gallery," I say, and his eyes light up. "You think?" he asks, unsure. "I know," I reply, feeling a purpose take root. Helping him feels like helping the girl I used to be, the one waiting for someone to notice. Noah and I start renovating the warehouse, sanding floors, painting walls. Lila drops by with lunch, her warmth a balm. "You're building something special," she says, hugging me. Her words linger, a reminder of what I've gained. But as I paint late one night, the river dark outside, I realize I'm planning something else too, a way to show my parents what they've lost. I'll invite them to the gallery opening, let them see me shine. Not to beg for their love, but to prove I don't need it. The thought is cold, sharp, but it drives me. I'm Sophie Harper, and I'm ready to build a life they can only watch from afar. The River Arts District hums with life, its brick warehouses alive with murals and the clink of coffee cups. Inside our fixer-upper, a cavernous space destined to become Lumen Gallery. I'm elbow deep in paint cans, the air thick with the sharp tang of primer. Noah's beside me, his flannel sleeves rolled up, sanding a stretch of oak flooring until it gleams. We've been at this for weeks, transforming this dusty relic into a haven for artists like me, ones who've spent too long feeling invisible. The summer sun slants through the cracked windows, casting long shadows, and I can almost see it. My paintings on these walls, glowing under soft lights, telling stories no one can ignore. I wipe sweat from my brow, smearing white paint across my cheek, and Noah laughs, brushing it away with his thumb. "You're a mess, Sophie Harper," he says, his hazel eyes warm. I grin, leaning into his touch, but my heart's not fully here. Since the wedding, I've kept my parents at a distance. No calls, no photos, no chasing their approval. Mom and Dad's choice to skip my day at Biltmore for Ethan's barbecue still burns, a quiet fire fueling every stroke of my brush. Noah knows it, sees it in the way I paint late into the night, but he doesn't push. He just stays, steady as the mountains outside. Clara swings by with a tray of iced coffees from Brew and Brush, her cafe's logo scrawled on the cups. "Thought you'd need a pick-me-up," she says, setting them on a makeshift table of plywood and sawhorses. Her dark hair's tied back, but her usual spark is dimmed, her shoulders tight. The rent hike at her cafe's got her scrambling, and I feel a pang of guilt for being so wrapped up in my own hurt. "How's it going?" I ask, nodding at her. She shrugs, forcing a smile. "Surviving. Thinking about a pop-up event to draw a crowd? Maybe tie it to your opening." Her eyes light up at the idea, and I nod, excited. "Let's make it happen," I say. Lumen and Brew and Brush, a double act. The door creaks open, and Elijah Brooks steps in, clutching his sketchbook like a shield. He's the kid from the wedding, all shy curls and quiet passion, his abstract art full of raw emotion. "Hey, Sophie," he says, hesitant. "You said to bring some work?" I motion him over, and he flips open the book, revealing swirls of crimson and indigo, like storms caught on paper. "These are incredible," I say, meaning it. His face flushes, but his eyes spark with hope. "You think they'd fit here?" he asks, glancing at the bare walls. "Absolutely," I say, feeling a surge of purpose. Helping Elijah feels like reaching back to the girl I was, the one whose paintings hung unnoticed at school fairs. Noah joins us, wiping his hands on a rag. "Elijah, you're in," he says, clapping him on the shoulder. "We're building this place for artists like you." Elijah's grin is small but real, and I see myself in him, hungry for someone to believe in his work. Lila Harper, Noah's mom, drops by with a cooler of sandwiches, her warmth filling the space. "Look at this place," she says, her grey curls bouncing as she surveys our progress. "You're making magic, Sophie." She hugs me, and I lean into it, her embrace a reminder of the motherly love I've missed. Lila's been a rock, unlike Mum, who hasn't reached out since the wedding. As we eat, sitting on paint cans, I overhear a conversation at a nearby coffee shop through the open window. It's Ethan's voice, loud and confident, boasting about his barbecue success, food trucks, live music, the whole town talking. My stomach twists, the memory of Mom's call flooding back. Ethan's counting on us. I set my sandwich down, appetite gone. Noah notices, his hand finding mine. "You okay?" he asks, low enough that only I hear. I nod, but my mind's racing. Ethan's party was a spectacle, sure, but it was my wedding, a day they chose to miss. I want them to see what I'm building, to feel the weight of their choice. That night, back at our bungalow, I sketch gallery layouts by lamplight. The river's murmur outside a soft backdrop. Noah's sketching too, his pencil tracing lighting designs. "This gallery's gonna be ours," he says, his voice full of quiet fire. "Yours, mine, Elijah's, everyone who's been overlooked." His words spark something in me, a plan forming. I want my parents at the opening, not to win them back, but to show them what I've done without them. I'll send an invitation, simple and formal, no hint of my role. Let them walk in blind, see my name in lights, and realize they've missed more than a wedding. It's not revenge. It's proof I'm enough. The invitation sits on my workbench, a cream card with elegant black script. You are cordially invited to the grand opening of Lumen Gallery, River Arts District, August 10th, 5 p.m. I stare at it, my stomach a knot of nerves and defiance. It's been weeks since I've spoken to Mom or Dad, their silence a loud echo of their absence at my wedding. Part of me wants to tear the card up, to keep them out of this new life I'm building with Noah. But another part, the part that's still the girl waiting for their applause at school art fairs, wants them to see me, really see me for once. I sign the card, my hand steady, and slide it into an envelope. No note, no explanation, just the facts. I drop it in the mailbox outside Brew and Brush, where Clara's wiping down tables, her cafe quiet in the midday lull. You sure about this? She asks, eyeing the envelope. Her voice is gentle, but her brows are raised, skeptical. They'll probably show up just to brag to their friends about their famous daughter. I laugh, but it's hollow. Maybe, I say, leaning against the counter, the smell of coffee grounding me. But I want them to walk in and realize they don't know me anymore. Clara nods, her eyes soft. You're braver than me, Sophie. If my family pulled that, I'd be done. Her cafe's still struggling, but she's planning a pop-up art event tied to Lumen's opening, a lifeline for her business. I promise to help, feeling the weight of our shared fights. Back at the gallery, the space is transforming. Noah's installed track lighting, the beams casting a warm glow on the walls we've painted crisp white. My paintings are stacked in the corner, ready to hang, bold oils of mountains, rivers, and storms, each one a piece of my heart. Elijah's there, nervously arranging his canvases, his fingers smudged with charcoal. What if no one likes them? He asks, his voice small. I kneel beside him, meeting his eyes. They'll love them because they're yours, I say. You're telling your story, Elijah. That's enough. He nods, a spark of confidence flickering, and I feel it too, a strength I didn't know I had, born from years of being unseen. Noah's mom, Lila, stops by with paint rollers, her energy infectious. This place is going to shine, she says, hugging me tight. Her warmth fills a void Mom left, and I cling to it, grateful. But as we work, sanding and sweeping, my mind drifts to the invitation. What if they don't come? Or worse, what if they do, and it doesn't change anything? Noah catches my eye, sensing my unease. You don't need them to make this real, he says, his voice firm. This is ours. I nod, but the doubt lingers, a shadow I can't shake. Clara pulls me aside later, her cafe bustling with evening customers. I heard Ethan's throwing another bank event, she says, rolling her eyes. Your parents are probably all over it. My chest tightens, the old hurt flaring. Ethan, always the star, his event's a magnet for their attention. I think of his barbecue, the one they chose over me, and my resolve hardens. Let them go, I say, my voice steady. I'm building something bigger. Clara grins, fierce. That's my girl. Let's make this opening epic. That night, I'm back in my studio, the river dark outside. I paint a new piece, a woman standing on a cliff, her back to the storm, her silhouette radiant. It's me, I realize, claiming my space. The invitation's gone, mailed to Mom and Dad, and I feel a strange calm. They'll come or they won't, but either way, Lumen's opening will be my moment. Elijah's painting beside me, his brush moving with new confidence, and Noah's sketching layouts across the room. We're a team, a chosen family, building something no one can take away. I'm Sophie Harper, and I'm ready to shine, with or without them. The River Arts District pulses with energy. Its cobblestone streets buzzing with artists, locals, and tourists drawn to Lumen Gallery's grand opening. Inside, the warehouse we've poured our hearts into gleams, polished oak floors, white walls bathed in the warm glow of Noah's track lighting, and my paintings commanding the space. Each canvas tells a story of resilience, stormy seas, lone trees, mountains standing defiant against the wind. I'm Sophie Harper, and tonight I'm not just an artist, but a founder. standing tall in a world I built without my parents' approval. The air hums with chatter, clinking glasses, and the faint strum of a guitarist Clara hired from Brew and Brush. But beneath my smile, my nerves are electric, waiting for the moment I've both dreaded and craved. I adjust my navy dress, its hem brushing my knees, and scan the crowd. Noah's beside me, his hand a steady anchor on my lower back, his suit sharp but his grin boyish. "Look at this, Sophie," he whispers, nodding at the packed room. "You did this." I squeeze his hand, my heart swelling, but my eyes keep darting to the entrance. I mailed that invitation to Mom and Dad weeks ago, a simple card with no hint of my role as co-founder. Part of me hopes they won't show, let them miss this too, but another part, the one that's still the girl waiting for their applause, wants them to see what I've become. Clara weaves through the crowd, her yellow sundress a burst of colour, balancing a tray of her cafe's signature lavender scones. "This is insane," she says, grinning, her dark hair swept into a loose braid. Her pop-up event outside, with Brew and Brush's coffee cart and local artists sketching live, is drawing a line down the street. It's saving her cafe, and I feel a rush of pride for her. "You're killing it," I say, hugging her. She laughs, but her eyes flick to the door too. "You think they'll show?" she asks, her voice low. I shrug, forcing nonchalance. "Doesn't matter, this is ours." But my stomach twists, betraying me. Elijah Brooks hovers near his paintings, his curls falling over nervous eyes as he chats with a local critic. His abstracts, swirls of crimson and indigo, like emotions caught in motion, are selling fast, and I catch his glance, giving him a thumbs up. He smiles, shy but proud, and I feel a spark of purpose. Mentoring him has been like healing my younger self, the one whose art hung unnoticed at school fairs. Lila Harper, Noah's mum, circulates with her warm laugh, introducing me to her friends as our Sophie. Her grey curls bounce as she hugs me, her embrace a reminder of the family I've found, so different from the one I was born into. The guitarist shifts to a softer melody, and Noah takes the mic, his voice clear and warm. "Welcome to Lumen Gallery," he says, the crowd quieting. "This is a dream born from a girl with a broken heart and a whole lot of paint." He looks at me, his eyes shining, and the room erupts in applause. I blush, stepping forward to speak, my voice steady despite the butterflies. "This gallery is for every artist who's felt unseen," I say, my gaze sweeping the crowd. "It's for us, for the stories we tell when no one's listening." The applause grows, and I feel a surge of power, like I'm finally claiming my space. Then I see them, Mom and Dad, standing awkwardly by the entrance, looking out of place in their church-going best, Mom in a floral dress, Dad in a stiff blazer. My breath catches, and time slows. Mom's eyes widen, scanning the room, taking in the press badges, the crowd, the energy. Dad's mouth tightens as he spots my name on the main plaque. Sophie Bennett Harper, founder and lead artist. They don't move, frozen like strangers in my world. Clara nudges me, her whisper sharp. "They're here. You've got this." Noah's hand finds mine, and I nod, steeling myself. I cross the room, my heels clicking on the oak, and stop before them. "You made it," I say, my voice calm but edged. Mom's eyes glisten, her hands twisting her purse strap. "Sophie, this is incredible," she says, her voice trembling. "We had no idea." Dad clears his throat, his face flushed. "You should have told us, honey. We'd have been here for you." I smile, small and polite. Not angry, not sad, just different. "I figured you'd be too busy," I say softly. After all, Ethan's barbecue was pretty important. Their faces pale, my words landing like a blade, honed by years of being overlooked. I turn back to the crowd, leaving them at the edges, invisible in a space where they have no roots. The night surges on. Elijah sells another painting, Clara's cart runs out of coffee, and Noah pulls me onto the dance floor, his arms a haven. But I feel their eyes on me, Mom and Dad, watching from the sidelines, separated by more than just the polished floor. They didn't just miss my wedding, they missed me growing into someone extraordinary. As the guitarist plays on, I lean into Noah, my heart full. This is my world now, and they're only visitors. The gallery opening lingers like a dream, its energy still buzzing in my veins as I sit in brew and brush the next morning, sipping Clara's dark roast. The cafe's warm, with mismatched chairs and local art on the walls, a haven where I've sketched countless ideas. Clara's behind the counter, her apron dusted with flour, her pop-up event success giving her cafe a lifeline. "You slayed last night," she says, sliding a scone my way. "Your parents looked like they'd seen a ghost." I laugh, but it's bittersweet. Mom and Dad's stunned faces are burned into my mind. Their words, "We had no idea," echoing like a half-hearted apology. They approach me as I'm leaving the cafe, Mom's floral scarf fluttering in the breeze, Dad's hands stuffed in his pockets. "Sophie," Mom says, her voice hesitant, "can we talk? Maybe have dinner? Catch up?" Her eyes are pleading, but I feel a wall between us, built from years of small betrayals. Dad shifts, his voice gruff. "We messed up, honey. We should have been at your wedding. We're sorry." The words should mean something, but they feel too late, like a painting left unfinished for years, now impossible to complete. I take a breath, the Asheville air sharp with the scent of pine and river water. "I appreciate that," I say, my voice calm but firm. "But I'm busy building my life. Maybe we can talk later." Mom's eyes well up, and Dad's mouth tightens, but they nod, stepping back. I walk away, my heart heavy but sure. Forgiveness isn't a switch I can flip. It's a process, and I'm not ready to let them back in. Not yet. Back at Lumen, Elijah's there, hanging a new canvas, his confidence growing with every sale from the opening. "I got an offer," he says, his voice shaky with excitement. "A gallery in Charlotte wants my work." I hug him, pride swelling. "You're going places, Elijah," I say, and he grins, his shyness fading. Mentoring him has been a gift, a way to heal the parts of me that felt unseen. Noah's in the back, sketching plans for our next exhibit, his focus a quiet strength. "We're just getting started," he says, kissing my forehead, and I feel the future unfolding, bright and ours. Clara calls me later, her voice bubbling. "The pop-up saved my cafe," she says. "I'm adding an art corner thanks to you." Her success feels like mine, our dreams intertwined. But as I paint that night, the river dark outside my studio, I think of Ethan. He was at the opening too, lingering near Mom and Dad, his usual swagger subdued. When he caught my eye, he gave a small nod, almost like respect. Later he pulled me aside, his voice low. "I didn't know, Sophie," he said. "All this, I didn't know you had it in you." His words were raw, hinting at his own pressure to be the perfect son, always in the spotlight. I pause my brush, staring at the canvas, a woman on a cliff, radiant against the storm. Ethan's admission surprised me, a crack in his golden armor. I don't hate him, not really. He's caught in the same family dance, just on the other side. But I'm done living in his shadow. I think of Mom and Dad, their apologies, their awkward presence at the opening. They want back in, but they don't get to waltz into a life I built without them. Lila's face flashes in my mind, her warm hugs a contrast to Mum's distance. Clara's loyalty, Elijah's growth, Noah's love, they're my family now. As I clean my brushes, the river's murmur a soft backdrop. I feel a quiet resolve. Lumen's just the beginning. We'll host workshops, lift more artists, make Asheville a beacon for the unseen. My parents can watch, maybe even join me one day, but it'll be on my terms. I'm Sophie Harper, and I've found my light, not to spite them, but to show myself I'm enough. The canvas glows under my lamp, and I know the next steps are mine to take. The autumn air in Asheville is crisp, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and wood smoke as I stand outside Lumen Gallery. My paint-splattered overalls dusted with chalk from the mural I'm finishing. The River Arts District hums around me, its brick warehouses alive with artists and tourists, the Blue Ridge Mountains a golden backdrop. It's been 3 months since Lumen's grand opening, and the gallery's become a heartbeat of the city, its walls lined with new voices, Elijah's bold abstracts, my own oils, and works from artists who, like me, once felt unseen. I'm Sophie Harper, and I've built a life that shines, not to prove a point, but to prove to myself I'm enough. Inside, Noah's arranging tables for tonight's workshop, his flannel sleeves rolled up, his laughter mixing with the chatter of young artists setting up easels. We've started hosting weekly classes, teaching kids and new painters to find their voice on canvas. Elijah's here too, no longer the shy kid from my wedding, now my assistant, his confidence growing with every piece he sells. "You ready for this crowd?" he asks, his curls bouncing as he hauls a stack of sketch pads. I grin, nodding. Born ready. His Charlotte exhibit is next month, a dream I helped spark, and seeing him thrive feels like a piece of my own healing. Clara's Cafe, Brew and Brush, is just down the street, now a local staple thanks to her pop-up event at Lumen's opening. She's added an art corner, displaying sketches from our workshops, her space a haven where creativity and coffee collide. She swings by, her apron smudged with flour, and hands me a latte. "You're a rock star, Sophie," she says, her dark eyes warm. "This place, these kids, it's magic." I hug her, grateful for her fierce loyalty, our friendship a lifeline through every storm. Her cafe's thriving, and we're planning a joint exhibit, tying our dreams together like threads in a tapestry. I step back to admire the mural, a sweeping view of Asheville's mountains, vibrant with greens and golds, a figure standing at the edge, radiant against the sky. It's me, I know, rooted in this place, this life. Noah joins me, his arm around my waist. "It's perfect," he says, his voice soft, "just like you." I lean into him, his warmth a reminder of the family we're building. Not just us, but Clara, Elijah, Lila, all the people who showed up when my blood family didn't. Lila's inside, setting out snacks for the workshop, her grey curls bouncing as she laughs with a kid about his messy brushstrokes. She's my mother in every way that matters. Her love a balm for wounds Mom and Dad left. My parents have been circling since the opening, their presence tentative, like guests unsure of their welcome. They came to a workshop last week, standing quietly at the back, watching me teach. Mom's eyes were wet, Dad's hands fidgety, but I kept my focus on the kids, on the life I've built. Today they're here again, lingering outside, their faces etched with something like regret. Ethan's with them, his usual swagger softened, his bank promotion long faded from the spotlight. He texted me last week, asking to meet, his words hesitant. "I didn't see you, Sophie. I'm sorry." It was the first time he'd ever apologized, and it stirred something in me. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a crack in the wall I've built. I approach them, my boots crunching on gravel, the mural glowing behind me. Mum speaks first, her voice shaky. "Sophie, it's beautiful. We're so proud." Dad nods, his eyes on the ground. "We should have been there, at the wedding, at everything. We're sorry." Their words hang in the air, heavy with years of missed moments, birthdays, art fairs, my wedding at Biltmore. I take a breath, the mountain air sharp in my lungs. "I know," I say, my voice steady but kind. "I'm building something here, and I'm happy. Maybe you can be part of it someday, but it's on my terms." Mom's eyes well up, and Dad nods, his face tight. Ethan steps forward, his voice low. "You're incredible, Sophie. I didn't get it before." I meet his gaze, seeing a flicker of the brother I might have known, if things had been different. I don't invite them in, not today. Instead, I hand them a flyer for our next exhibit, a small gesture, a door left ajar. "Come if you want," I say, turning back to the gallery. They stand there watching as I rejoin Noah, Clara, and Elijah, my chosen family. The workshop begins, kids laughing as paint splatters, and I feel whole, rooted in this moment. Later, I sign the mural, Sophie Harper, my new name, a declaration of the life I've claimed. As the sun sets, the mountains purple against the sky, I stand with Noah, our hands entwined. Lumen's lights spill onto the street, a beacon for the unseen. My parents are still out there, somewhere, maybe at Ethan's next bank event, but it doesn't sting anymore. I've built a life they can only watch from afar, not out of spite, but because I've found where I belong. With Noah's arm around me, Clara's laughter in the air, and Elijah's voice guiding a kid's brush, I know I'm enough. The mountains stand silent, and so do I, my heart full, my story complete. I hope you enjoyed this story. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss touching stories. Leave a like and then comment below what you thought of the emotional stories. See you in the next video.